Welcome. If you're a woman who has a sense that there's more out there for you, you're in the right place. I'm Whitney Baker, host of the Electric Ideas podcast. Somewhere along the line of work and kids, life carried on, but I lost track of my truth. I'm on a reflective journey, and that's what this podcast is all about. Each week, I interview a woman who is lighting her own path and offering others hope. Before our conversation ends, we'll share a reflective question for you to explore. Sometimes all we need is a jolt, a fresh idea, an aha moment that connects us to a sense of possibility. This, my friends, is what I call an electric idea. Welcome back to Electric Ideas. Today's guest is Cassandra Rosa. Cassandra is a healer and a life and intuitive business coach. She wrote an award-winning book. It's called Now What? Create the Clarity to Achieve Your Dreams, which we'll be referring to in today's conversation. Cassandra is also a Reiki master, a public speaker, and host of a personal development and business podcast called Fulfilled Female Entrepreneur. And while helping female entrepreneurs create fulfilling lives and impactful businesses is Cassandra's specialty, what she teaches is universally applicable, as she loves to help women clarify the path to their purpose and connect to their inner confidence. Regardless of where you are in your life journey, we've all had moments where we feel like something started or something stopped or something unexpected happened. Or maybe we're even just feeling impatient, stuck, or stagnant in our lives. And we're sitting and often feeling very alone with this overwhelming question of, now what? I know this conversation is going to help you tap into yourself and move forward in areas of your life, even if the path feels murky. So let's get into it. Hi, Cassandra. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love this term that you use called what now moments. I kind of see them as these moments of transition when we aren't necessarily sure what's next for us, but you tell us your definition.
Yeah. So, this whole concept of now what, I think, is something that as women, we go through so many times throughout our life, right? It starts when what are we going to do with our lives when it comes to schooling and the school system? It comes up of what job do I want, or career transitions, quarter midlife crisis, like even in creative process, right? Of bringing something new and wondering, now what? What's next? So the way that I like to define it is that precipice moment of when you feel like what you are experiencing has come to some sort of completion and you're ready for what's next. So, yeah, it's interesting with my book. A lot of people of all different walks of life have resonated with it because I think it's such a universal type of frame of mind that people go throughout life.
Yes, it definitely resonated with me because I think, especially in my journey through motherhood and career pauses or shifts to accommodate how I want to show up as a mom, there was times where I stopped one thing because it was just not a fit. It just didn't feel aligned. And I knew I was ready for more, but I felt stuck and I didn't really know where to start. And that's what I think is really interesting about your work. So if a woman can relate to that for any reason, where would they start?
So it's interesting when we're going through these experiences, we may want to just like go in our bed and put the covers over our head and just isolate from the world and get into this kind of victim mindset of woe is me, right? Being in that stuckness is uncomfortable, right? So it's easy to go there. But what I always say when you're going through the thick of your now what moments, it's important to be in a state of gratitude because that means that your heart, your soul knows that there's something big coming for you. There's something so powerful that awaits you right around the corner. So instead of being caught up in what you may have lost, what chapter's ending, get caught up in the gratitude of the present and the excitement for what's to come.
I love that reframe. And I think that there's this feeling that a lot of women get into of, oh, it'll just be okay when, and they do get stuck in that victim, or they feel like they can't enjoy their life until they've got it figured out. What's your best advice for enjoying the present, even when we have a sense that we're not quite yet where we want to be, or we're kind of in that murky middle, in that in-between phase? And then now what?
Yeah, I think I really started to understand the importance of giving myself compassion, because that's the way society has set us up, right? We're always focusing on the next goal, the next achievement, the next milestone. I call them like the ABCs of success of you go to high school, you go to some sort of post-secondary, and then you get a job and you fall in love and you get married and have a house. Like there's all these societal kind of milestones. So we're always longing for what's next. I like to call it destination syndrome. When you're so obsessed for the destination that you don't enjoy the present moment. And one of my biggest lessons I feel like I needed to learn in this life is about embracing the journey, of being present in the here and now, of enjoying every step of the journey and finding the fulfillment, the happiness, the success in all of it in the present, instead of having to constantly long for the future. And I think that's why a lot of people in these now what moments are experiencing anxiety or depression, because depression is being caught up in the past and anxiety is getting caught up in the future for what's next. So I think to answer your question, to really anchor in that sense of presence of the here and now, again, I'm going to bring it up, gratitude, right? When you're connecting with something that you're grateful in the present moment, it anchors you in to the here and now. And it amplifies your energy. It amplifies the state of gratitude. Whenever you're feeling grateful for something, your energy starts to shift. You start to feel better. You start to feel more happy. So I think that's why, to answer your question from before, right, I brought in this whole concept of gratitude. It's been so transformative for me during my now what moments.
I really like that. And I think that it's easy too for women to get stuck in their heads. I've experienced when they're like, I don't know what I want. And I'm miserable about the fact that I don't know what I want. And that is not usually the place from which we find or step into what we're craving. And I think that we're probably really aligned on that. So, what is some practical advice for maybe more actions women could take when they're in that mentality, but they have enough awareness to know, okay, feels like a downward spiral. I'm really ready to do something different in order to get different results. What could they do?
Yeah, it's interesting because when people are going through now at moments, and I can't tell you how many clients have talked to me and being like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. And I find in most cases we have some sort of idea. I think it's just our ego, our subconscious mind, our limiting beliefs in ourselves keep us small and really try and convince ourselves that it's not possible. So I think it's really tapping into that like childlike wonder that you have. I don't have kids of my own yet, but I know that seeing so many kids around me, seeing that childlike wonder and curiosity of life, it's bringing that back. It's bringing the fun back. It's bringing that exploration state of yourself back. So it's kind of playing with the idea of what is it that I desire for myself? If it's not something tangible, what's a state that you really want to feel? Do you want to feel fulfilled? Do you want to feel at peace? Do you want to feel more happy? Okay, cool. And asking yourself, what is something small that I can do that will help me feel that way? So, say, for example, you love to dance and you haven't danced in a really long time, and that always makes you feel so free and happy. Doing more of those small things, getting out of your head and getting into your body, getting into your heart, connecting to your intuition, that's where the true clarity is going to lie.
I agree. And something I talk to my clients a lot about is when you're in this place of stuckness and murkiness, which I have been there, it's like a terrible feeling. But oftentimes women, especially women who have come from kind of what you would define as a traditionally successful career path or some sort of shift, it's like they want the 10-point plan and the full plan before they're willing to do anything. And something I like to talk about a lot is baby steps or breadcrumbs and just starting to link up to anything that's going to energize you in any category of your life and trusting that the more you start tiptoeing that direction, the more things will become clear. And no matter what, taking those small actions is going to help you loosen up a little bit and start feeling less stuck. Has that been your experience?
Yes, I love that you bring this forth. That's what I talk about in my book in the last section. And I have something called like the circle and start method. So you
Mm.
have some sort of idea of a state or something that you desire that you want to have. And then you get yourself into a state of connectedness. So by doing something that makes you feel connected, happy, and peaceful with yourself, whether it's going for a walk, it's doing a little meditation, it's drawing, whatever that may be, and then you grab a piece of paper and a pen and you start to hypothesize from a place of possibility with a place that I don't know isn't in your vocabulary for a minute. And you start to say, okay, what are the little baby steps that I can take to allow me to have that desire? So, for example, let's go back to you want to feel happy. Okay, so what are some small things I can do to make me feel happy? Okay, I love cuddling with my dog. I'm going to do that today. Oh, I love to dance. That's so much fun for me. Oh, I love to be in my backyard. I'm going to do that. So you kind of write all those little ideas down and just get into the flow. Just empty them out of your mind and allow your heart to shine as you write these items down. And then you can number the first three off, one, two, three, and circle the first one and start. So that way, sometimes you get caught up in the how. I think that's one of the biggest thing that paralyzes people in this shifting out of these now what moments. You have this rolling list of ideas all there, little baby steps that are tangible to get the momentum going. So say you accomplish one, two, three, then you write four, five, six on your list, right? So I think it's all the little bit of momentum that happens from taking these small steps and getting yourself more in touch with how you truly want to feel instead of being caught up in the fear and the stuckness. That's where you have all of these epiphanies that await you.
I want to circle back to a few things you've said because this is bringing up so much for me. I think fear is a big piece. I think women especially know so much more than we give ourselves credit for, and sometimes in this busy bombarded life, we just have lost access to tapping into that inner knowing. I think that's one challenge. I think another challenge is sometimes it's inconvenient to know what you really want because it's going to take a little bit of trade-off or movement or sacrifice sometimes. And that's not always comfortable, even if it's in our higher good. So if you had a client who you saw that was grappling with either kind of lack of clarity on what they want, or you kind of suspect that they do know what they want, but they're scared of stepping out of their comfort, what would be some advice or how would you address them?
Yeah, so I would say we kind of start with the first piece of becoming clear of what you do understand. Like you don't need to have every answer to every question mark in the thought bubble of your mind, but let's lean into what you do know and what feels good for you in that moment. And then it's really taking a moment to give the spotlight to what the fears are. Because if you want something you haven't done before, or you haven't had before, or you haven't done something in a while, and it's outside and it's stretching you, the fears are going to come up because our subconscious always wants to keep us in our comfort zone. So I think it's really understanding, first of all, that that's a compliment. Like fear is a big compliment in those situations because that means your heart and soul knows that there's something big for you, and really giving the mic for the fear, giving the spotlight for the fear and seeing what comes up. So, for example, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. Say, you're in this 9 to 5, you're not liking it so much, you want to create a business. Okay, you know what? I really want to create a business. I've been procrastinating on it for a while. Okay, cool. So, having that understanding and then giving the mic to the fear. So, what is your monkey mind telling you? What is coming up for you that is creating resistance for you achieving it? Grabbing a piece of paper and like scribbling it all out in your own words. Well, my mind's telling me I can't do it. Oh, well, it feels like it's going to be hard. Well, how am I going to fit this in my busy schedule? Right? You're writing all of that down and you're taking a moment just to be present with it. And then doing a mini like ceremony, if you will, for yourself of ripping up that paper and burning it and just seeing it go down is such a healing experience. I can't tell you how many times I've used that. I remember being at a seminar so many years ago and burning this whole concept of procrastination and realizing how liberating it was to have that experience. So I think it's acknowledging that and then using the circle and start method to kind of get the momentum going. Okay, now that I have some sort of release, that I've had some sort of awareness, let's just start taking the actions. acting in spite of the fears, acting in spite of what my subconscious is telling me, and choosing me, choosing
Mm.
the life I've always wanted for myself and for my family.
Hey, it's Whitney Baker from Electric Ideas. I am popping into this episode because I have exciting news. The waitlist for Season to Shift, my signature 6-week mastermind for moms, is open. If you're a mom who's feeling like your life is on autopilot, here is your chance to press pause, shed some stress, and remember what brings you joy. My clients often say they're craving more in life, but can't quite pinpoint what needs to shift. Other clients say they feel like all they do is respond to everybody else's needs, and they've forgotten what their needs even look like. We drive so many things as mothers. It's hard for me to convey how incredible it feels to let yourself be guided and also surrounded by a group of relatable, like-minded moms who recognize they are worthy of nurturing their identity outside of their work and caregiving roles, but want support and practices and strategies that actually help them do this. The fall 2024 cohort of Season to Shift starts on September 25th. We meet on Wednesday mornings live as a group, and then in between our meetings, you get to explore daily rituals and fun exercises on your own time that are really intended to blend into your day-to-day and not become something else on your to-do list. If this sounds like you can click the link in the show notes of this podcast for more information and a chance to join the waitlist. This course is intentionally intimate and available on a first-come, first-served basis, so don't delay. I just have to say, the longer I do this program, the more excited I get about it because I continue to hear from clients about all the shifts they were able to make in their life in a compact amount of time. So if you have any questions, I'd be delighted to hear from you. You can email me at whitney@myelectricideas.com, or you can message me on Instagram at WhitneyWoman, and I'll get back to you within a day or two. I hope to see you in September for Season to Shift. Now back to the show. I love how you reframed fear as a compliment, because I think fear just holds so many women back in my experience. And it's almost a source of shame, something that lets us lead B-minus lives and have this subtle feeling of regret. And I like how you're just calling out this strong invitation to put it on paper. I think sometimes just acknowledging like, oh my gosh, sometimes I think women don't realize how many fears are rattling around. And like you said, in the monkey mind, until they just get them on paper. And then they're like, okay, I get to choose to let this rule my life or to be brave. And I'm all about, I like the burning, the little ceremony. It's symbolic, but sometimes those things just invite us to really look clearly at what's going on. So I know in your life experience, you've had some big pivots and took some big risks. Can you give us an example of when you followed your gut, took a risk, stepped through some fears, and you're so glad you did?
Yeah, no, I would love to. So, I've been in the personal development industry for the past decade. And for the past 5 years, I've been doing it in this capacity with like intuitive life and business coaching. And I was working a 9 to 5, doing a sales job for an espresso for 5 years. And I was feeling this pull intuitively to like fully step into being a full time entrepreneur doing the coaching. And I made the decision in the beginning of 2019. And April, I started. And I had a Facebook group and I started to work with a coach and learn like, the logistical pieces of starting a business. And I had made up my mind. I was saying by the end of this year, like, I want to be out of my job. I want to be doing this full time. So it took a lot of focus. It took a lot of boundaries. It took a lot of acting in spite of my fears. It took a lot of kind of holding my business near and dear to my heart because not everybody believed in me. There's a lot of doubts. There was a lot of fear from other people being projected. But I chose me and I chose impact for people. And I chose my gifts and I chose creating a better life for myself. Even though there was so much fears of how am I going to do it? How am I going to replace my income? But I did it anyway. And because of focus and having a really clear why of changing people's lives and being able to have a free lifestyle of working from my laptop and traveling and doing what I love, for me, 6 months I left my full-time job. And it was really funny. I want to share this little story. I had said from the beginning of the year, December, I wanted to leave. And it was interesting because I was in a meditation group and we had to bring forth a question and receive an answer. And I meditated on, okay, what day am I supposed to leave? And clear as day, as if someone was talking to me, November 15th. And I got out of the meditation and my monkey mind went off. No, there's no way you're doing November 15th. That was the busiest time of the year for me. It's so hilarious. I go into work one day and my manager above me left, and there was lots of changes happening in the company. And I just, in my heart, was like, go home and resign. And I was like, this is right before the holiday season, the busiest time. I was scared, but literally, as I got home, my fingers were doing all the typing and it just didn't feel like me. Like it just, my intuition took over. It's so funny. I send it. I was on the phone with my friend. I send it and I look at the date. November 15th was the day I resigned from my job.
Wow.
And I was like, Jen, I was like to my friend, Jen, it's November 15th. Like, I can't believe it's November 15th. And she had no idea what I was talking about. But it just goes to show sometimes you have to follow your gut. And I resigned. I gave my 2 weeks notice. Then the pandemic happened. And what happened with the pandemic going on? My job got removed because the pandemic, they weren't doing the sales program anymore for the marketing company that I was working through. So I would have been out of a job. So if I didn't follow my gut, little did I know what the repercussions of that would have been.
Wow. Two things I want to circle back to with relationship to your story. One, going way to the beginning, you talked about fear being projected. This is something I definitely, when I went through my shift and pivoting out of a past career, I think it can be a career change, but also just a shift in how we want to show up in the world. I think people are often held back because it's not always convenient for people around us when we start to evolve and change. So when you see that happening with your clients, kind of getting in the mode with like, well, what would so and so say if I all of a sudden was a yoga teacher, or who knows? There could be a million examples. How do you coach your clients around that?
Keep your creations to you and to the people that are aligned on your path until you feel so confident and so courageous to take the step that even if the naysayers come up, it's not going to affect you as much. Like I remember beginning of my business, like in the infancy, sharing things with, family members or friends from high school. And they're like, oh, that's great. And being so butthurt about it, being like, what do you mean? Like, I'm creating a business, I'm changing lives. Like, what do you mean? So I think it's really keeping it near and dear to your heart and then finding community of like-minded people around you. And it's interesting because I was taking a lot of courses at the time, a lot of certifications. I was sharing some of my creations to people that were like new in my world instead of people, that have been in my world for years. So it's really important to lean on community of people that are like-minded and giving yourself permission to just have this cocoon of creation. Like, speaking to moms, right? Yes, some people know when you're expecting in the beginning and you share more with people, as time goes on, but it's really you and the baby as a mom that are creating this beautiful thing together. So see what you're birthing in your life as a birthing experience of creation, whether it's a child or whether it's a business or whether it's a creative project that you're passionate about. Give that space for it to grow before you go and share everything with the world.
I think that's a great reflection. And it might even just be a creative part of you that you haven't honored for a long time that is crying for a little attention. I think that I like to think about it as women sometimes trade off the need for external approval when really we just want our own approval. Like I'm not approving of myself if I'm not giving myself space to do what lights me up and what fulfills me. So it's a big shift. I know, speaking of fulfillment, you have really evolved your definition with age. How do you think about fulfillment differently these days?
Yeah, I think kind of circling back to the beginning of when we started chatting, like I think the society standards of fulfillment really comes with a sense of achievement. You will feel fulfilled, you'll feel happy, you'll feel successful when you have XYZ thing. It's very much an external focus, the way society's set up. And it's interesting. I had on my vision board for years, I wanted to live in Mexico. And in 2021, I lived there for 4 months and talk about manifesting everything on the vision board. It was there, right? So I was so fulfilled. I'm like, yeah, like this is what life's about, like working hard to get what you want, right? I come back home for some family reasons and I was sitting there with myself. I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't feel fulfilled anymore. And it made me realize how much of it is an internal job. You can't rely on your external world being this perfect way every moment of the journey to get what you want, being that state. You have to look for it in the small moments. You have to look for it in a conversation that you have with someone, whether you're podcasting or you meet someone new in the street and being like, "Ooh, you know what? That was so fulfilling. That brought me so much happiness and joy." It's looking at the micro moments of gratitude, of happiness, and seeking that with the little moments in your life and like how you're showing up in every step of the process. So, fulfillment for me, and the way that I've reframed it now is looking at it in the day to day instead of only at the destination.
That's beautiful. Do you have any advice for women who are listening and maybe they are in that what now moment and this all sounds good, but they've kind of lost track of what lights them up in a day-to-day time frame, like they no longer enjoy maybe the things they did in their 20s and their lives have gotten full with kids and jobs and laundry and caregiving and all the things. And they want to have that energy and spark again, but they're just not quite sure what would bring that to them.
Look at the past. Look at when you were in your childlike state, right? We had so much wonder. We had so much excitement about coloring, dancing, playing in the backyard, going on a bicycle, right? Like all those little things, really looking at that and bringing that sense of play into your life. And if you're a mom, how cool would that be to do some of your favorite hobbies with your kids and making it a fun experience? It'll create such a ripple effect to your whole family by you just really connecting with that childlike wonder. So if you're looking at your 20s and that no longer feels good, then go younger.
I like that a lot. And for the moms out there, I feel like one of the most life-giving aspects for me in motherhood is shifting my perspective, especially as my kids get a little bit older, into not being the producer of their fun. So many moms get in this mode of like making sure their kids are having fun. My kids usually have the most fun when I'm having fun with them. So really, as they age, trying to find activities, it doesn't have to be everything, but really trying to find something that we both can do together that I also genuinely enjoy, because that's really when I feel most connected to my kids too. And it's easier to feel connected when I'm lit up and enjoying myself. So just wanted to share that. Well, we've covered a ton of beautiful territory. Time has flown, but because we've talked about feeling stuck, getting clear, moving past that, letting go of self-doubt, is there anything that you feel like is on your heart to share that we didn't have a chance to touch on today?
Change is uncomfortable, but this image that's coming through is the whole concept of a butterfly. Sometimes you have to be in the cocoon. Sometimes you have to cry about letting go of the past. Sometimes you have some ideas that are coming through you that you need to keep to yourself and evolve and create. Sometimes there's the fear of breaking outside of the cocoon. But once you do, like a butterfly, you will fly and you will soar. It's all part of the process. Embrace it all. Find gratitude in all of the moments and know that you have the power to transform. And it's a choice. It's a choice. Your perspective can be powerful or it can keep you stuck. So it's really reminding yourself of how powerful you truly are and that you're the co-creator of your destiny. And know that in the discomfort, when you break through, so much beauty awaits.
That's really beautiful. And it's what's really coming forth for me from our conversation is this permission to almost relax into these cocoon seasons, these winter seasons of the soul, where we're just letting things incubate and trying to enjoy those as well, and knowing that they're a natural season of evolvement.
Yeah. One last quick thing, because you said seasons. Life is so seasonal. It's not going to be summer all time. It's not going to be sunny and happiness all the time. It's not going to be fun and games every step of the journey. So it's giving yourself permission to embrace each season and not bypass it. Because now, what moments are the biggest gifts of our lives? Because it's an opportunity for letting go of what isn't serving you anymore, what feels stagnant and old, and really getting excited and embracing the new. So unless you have that moment of change, you're going to be living a life that you don't love, right? And we really need to give ourselves permission, I think all of us in humanity right now, to live the life we love and not what society has set for us.
Great reflection. Great place to end. I always like to give my listeners a chance for deeper reflection on their own. Sometimes it's something they might want to talk to a close friend about or journal about. So, in these areas of what now moments or how to move forward when we don't know what we want necessarily, what's one question women could be asking themselves more?
What would light me up today? What would get me so excited about life today? And what's a small step that I can take to have that for myself?
So aligned with that. I love it. I know my community will want to follow you to continue to get inspired. So tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, on Instagram, my handle is Cassandra Rosa A, or you can go check out my website, cassandrarosa.com, and come check out the podcast. Whitney's going to be a guest as well, the Fulfilled Female Entrepreneur podcast. It's available on all the major podcasting platforms.
Woohoo. Can't wait to see you there as well. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for asking such great questions. It's been so much fun.
I'm so glad you joined me today. If you're looking for more, feel free to connect with me on Instagram at @WhitneyWoman. And if you enjoyed the show, I invite you to support me by leaving a review or sharing it with a friend. Hope you have an inspired day.